Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Angela Fontaine. She is a professional coach, consultant, and community advocate, and she is the founder of Seraph Strategies. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, AJ.
You are welcome to the show, Angela. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people will benefit and understand things better about community advocacy with the discussion with you. So, my first question is to understand about you, Angela, for the audience. So let them understand from you directly who is Angela Fontaine. Is she is a professional coach, or she is much more of a community advocate? Help them understand.
Yes, thank you. So that's a great question. I would say that as a coaching found me, I've always been a firm believer that human beings should have autonomy as much as possible to live productive and engaged lives. And my whole career was focused on assisting individuals through transitioning out of incarceration, dealing with disabilities, going back to work after a car accident, or really advocating for individuals to live lives full of liberty and joy and doing what their divinity was calling for them to do. So through that work, I found coaching and consulting, and now I make sure organizations and people who work for them are doing that and that authentic work with the community. So that's a little bit more about the why I do the work I do.
Right, right, absolutely. So, for people who are on different parts of the world, how should they understand community advocacy as? Is it about more about helping one specific type of people, or you do work with a lot of different type of people in different communities? Help them understand with the type of
Yes.
community advocacy that you do.
Yeah, so every community, even within one country, is unique. And I think that's the first part of community advocacy, is allowing communities to have their own culture, their own beliefs, do what makes them happy, have their families. So it really, the basis of it is working with the community, not doing things to a community. So understanding and really cherishing the culture, the language, the goals, and supporting a community to be their best selves, not saying I know better than you, but cultivating strong communities. I'm a huge believer in community autonomy. I do some work with my local government here in Richmond, Virginia, in the US, but all of that work stems from the voice of the members of the community, not coming in. So when I'm in my consulting work, I work with nonprofit organizations. Here in the United States, we have millions of them. And I want to make sure that the work that they are doing is building our communities up instead of taking away the voices of the individuals in the communities. That's essentially my motivation.
Right, Angela. I want to understand one thing, that communities generally are quite a number of people.
Mm-hmm.
And these same communities form the larger society, form the country,
Mm-hmm.
and then they elect the topmost positions, people who hold that power.
Yes.
And then the same community has to fight for things from the people they elected. I want to understand why communities, not in just one place, but all across the world, have faced so many challenges, so many problems,
Mm-hmm.
and have to deal with so many fights for the very basic things that everyone promises to them when they stand for elections. Help us
Mm-hmm.
understand this irony a bit.
Yeah. So my take on it is that Sometimes people who should be in these positions are not the people who are the tallest or the most ability to speak in front of people. They're not as charismatic. Um, some people might be really good at telling you what you want to hear, but a person with a stronger conscience wouldn't be able to do that. They would be more authentic, open, and honest. And for some reason, the political realm, people that are really good at, we say a saying here, blowing smoke, um, are also people who are not going to live up to what they're power hungry instead of really caring about the community. Now, that's not everyone. And then the other piece is capitalism, is this money distorts sometimes the motivations of people. Not that capitalism is all bad, but it can get to a point where money becomes the here in the United States we have, it's called we passed it in the 90s, it's called oh goodness, uh, Citizens United, where we are able to, corporations are able to give funds to political campaigns. And this means these big multi-million dollar corporations are giving money as people would to campaigns. So is there, at this point, corporations are treated like people in a sense. So is that politician going to be doing what's in the best interest of this multi-billion dollar company? Or are they going to be doing what's in the best interest of the individuals working for that multi-billion dollar company? And unfortunately, it is usually the company that gets the advocacy. So that's a great question, and a really important thing to distinguish between what is a person, what is community. Yes, the corporations do make up the community, but if you dig deeper, what makes it the community are the people working, the people voting, and also realizing that sometimes you have to vote for the person that's not as good in front of people. They might be shy. They might be a little, quirky. That's okay. That it all comes from your heart, and being a good, authentic person is what we should be voting for in every election, not just the people who know how to say the right things.
Right, right, Angela. Now, one more thing.
Mhm.
Why some people within the, say, bureaucracy or even the political system might be good. Sometimes, does it happen that community is not able to represent its case properly to those people? Many a times the intentions may not be bad or not, no, or they just may not be aware, or maybe just laziness.
Mhm.
How do you look at that? How can, what would you like to say to communities in different parts of the world, especially in the US? How to look at this? How do they get themselves or their issues better represented in the people, to the people who can, solve it for them,
Mhm.
because they are just neutral, but they want it better represented. How do you look at it as a community advocate?
Yes. So here in the US, what I would say is local politics are more important than federal politics. Our federal system is a mess right now. It's all sensationalized. But we have states, governors, local city council that are, our city council here in Virginia, it's bipartisan. All their job is to do is to be a voice for the people. So I would say focus more on local politics than federal politics, than the big politics. What's happening in your community? Because just like the big corporation, that we need to focus on the individuals. Individuals have more power in their own community, and if we can get people representing us that do reflect what we need, then that will trickle up to the system. Voting, we have a lot of problems here in the United States with the way our votes count on the federal level. And as if I understand correctly, the world kind of watches that, and it's frankly embarrassing. because we wonder as Americans sometimes if we live in a democracy or what it is exactly. So I would say local individuals are important. Local politics is important, more important than anything else.
Right, right. So amidst all these things, how do you make the difference? What do you bring to the table when you are solving problems for the community? I want to understand, and why to take so much of trouble? How it can be very demotivating sometimes. So I want to understand your mindset also.
Yeah. So the to your second question, it kind of goes to why I do the work that I do. This is inherently who I am. It's inherently who I am. I was born, whether you believe in God or Allah or whatever it is that gave me this drive. It is what I'm doing because it's how I feel like I am living out my own divinity. And remind me what the first part of your question was.
Yeah, in terms of uh, I myself forgot, but yeah, with the challenges, so many challenges come in. So how do you manage to bring out things from your side that can actually solve the community
Mhm.
problems? What is it that you bring to the table when you look at these issues for the community?
Yeah, so a lot of people want to help, and a lot of people think that they know the best way to help, and that's not always true. So what I do is I coach or consult in making sure that people are doing the right, asking the right questions, getting to know the right people, um, having the right studies done, being accessible in order to really truly listen to the community and then decide. So for instance, we've heard the story about, or I don't know if you've heard it, but the story about the shoe company who went into a country, and I believe it was in Africa, and they just start giving away shoes, and then that messed the economy up, right? So that's a big example, but that happens on small levels all the time. Now, when it comes to politics, I am going to be running for my local election this next November. I still don't know what that looks like, but my goal is to be authentic and to show my cohorts or individuals who are my colleagues in politics that I'm here truly to represent individuals, and they don't have to agree with me on things because we're dynamic human beings that have different experiences, and it's okay to think differently. It's a good thing to think differently. So, really, we talk about diversity, really understanding how important and valuable diversity is instead of saying, we need to fit into these perfect boxes of how everybody is supposed to act. Because if we can truly respect each other's diversity, that is what's going to change the world, I believe.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, what are the challenges that you generally face in your work, and what is the support? Where is this support comes in? As you said, there are lots of people who want to help but do not know how to help. So, I want to understand the people behind the silent people behind whatever help is that coming to the community.
Um, Repeat the first part of your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are the challenges that you generally face in your day-to-day advocacy work?
Yeah. Um, Some of the challenges that I face is really mindset. People want to do things, they want to help, but it can be scary for them. Or we have this big plan to make these changes. I work mostly in social justice, and then I work in environmental justice some. And we can make plans all day long, but really getting them moving is hard, can be difficult. So I step in and I say, what are the blocks? Where are the roadblocks? How can we navigate these? How can we prepare for these? And really holding that accountability to get these plans that we have created into motion. So that's how I bring we can talk all day long, but we need to get things done. And I think that is a part of, I think that's the work that I do, but also the problem with politics is like we talk, but my job is to get things moving. So, and then the second part of your question reminds me.
Yeah, that, where do you get the support from? As you said, there are lots of people who want to help but do
Mhm,
not know how. So I want to understand about those type of people who want to help the community.
mhm. So the people, so here in the US, we have plenty of like volunteer opportunities and people do things like that. Our campaigns, when we run, that's all volunteer people knocking on doors and getting the word out. Um, but when people want to help and don't know how, sometimes they don't know that they don't know how. They think they know. And I have an example of missionaries, for instance. You believe in your religion, as everybody has the right to do, and you want to go to someone else's country and push your religion onto them. They think they know what they're doing well, but what problems are they causing in the process? So we have to first respect other people's cultures, and secondly, really work with them because there are communities who need help. But the first thing that we should be doing is asking, what does that community need? And the community is who tells you this, not your judgment on their community. Here in the US, we love to look at other countries and say, oh, they're so poor, and it's like, no, they're not. Like, they live differently. They don't need all of these things around. So, people might have judgments and be going based on their judgments, whether or not someone needs help. And that's not the case. So when I say community advocacy, and what I do is really working with the community and not assuming you know better than anyone just because you have a degree or because, happiness looks very different in different places. And we can learn so much from that, I think.
Right, right, Angela. Tell us a bit about, Seraph Strategies. What does it do? What you do in there?
So I do a lot. I facilitate group exercises. I proctor what's called the Energy Leadership Assessment, which gives us an idea of how we perceive the world around us and how those perceptions can be helping us or hurting us in navigating our lives. I do full coaching programs where we walk through segments and do that. I also do one-on-one coaching with executive directors right now. I've also, mostly of what I've done is career transition. So I started out coaching, working with people who want to go from point A to point B in their career. And I am helping them get their mindset in the place that allows them to do that. I also do strategic planning, which is working with organizations and really seeing what their goals are for the next 3 to 5 years. And we plan it out. We have this beautiful report plan that tells them this is where you're going for the next 5 years. I work mostly with nonprofit and government organizations, although I do have a few corporate clients. And other than that, Seraph Strategies, people ask me all the time, why did you name yourself Seraph Strategies? And I couldn't think of a good name, but I like the idea that it's seraph in multiple religions means multiple things, and that kind of brings that diversity. And Angela is a synonym for seraph, being an angel, and then Angela. So I figured it could be just an easy name to have. But other than that, yeah, at the basis of my work is my love for humanity, theology, philosophy, um, you know, and really supporting individuals and organizations and living true, authentic, and engaged lives.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, for those people who want to know more about your work, about Seraph Strategies, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
So I have an Instagram handle at Seraph, SERIPH _strategies. I also have a website, www.seraphstrategies.com. Those are probably the two best ways. I also do free consultations. So if you through my website, you can book a free consult. It doesn't have, it can be literally anything. I custom design all the work that I do. So a person comes to me and they say, this isn't working right with me or my organization. Let's talk through it. And from that, I design what this engagement looks like and give you a timeline and all of that stuff. So it's very malleable. It's very organic. It's very authentic, I think. And yeah, that's how to get in touch with me.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.